Hey everybody, welcome to part 2 of the Speed, Bead, Hitch series. Glad you could join us. So, starting off with a recap of part 1, here's an item that we want to hold on to or hang up somewhere. Method: a length of cordage in a loop for a lanyard using a metal bead to create a sliding knot with 2 hitches, enabling us to rapidly adjust the size of the lanyard by pulling on the cordage or alternatively by pulling on the bead. Cool. Let's create one. So here's a speed, bead, hitch configuration or setup, and what we want to do first is show you how to rapidly spill or loosen the knot created by the 2 hitches and the bead. So what we want to do first is we want to offset the ends of the cordage so that when we pull the bead off, the ends of the cordage don't get stuck in the bead, because depending upon how you finished off the ends of the cordage, with melting it with a lighter, they're hard and they could get stuck there. So we want to give that bit of an offset. Then we want to give ourselves a running start, and we can pull off the bead. And this shows you how you can rapidly get access to your cordage if you have something else you want to do with it. And we don't have to mess around with a traditional knot that we have to untie that might be really tight. So, and again, what I showed you was just to make sure that you don't have any trouble pulling the bead off. So there's a little bit of work there, but it's fairly rapid. Okay, so now let's create a speed, bead, hitch application with another item that we want to tether. And we'll take a piece of the cordage, one end of the cordage, and we'll run it through the lanyard hole. Then we grab a bead and we take this end of the cordage and run it through. And we'll pause for a moment to go over some rope craft terminology. This is the working end of the cordage. This is the standing end of the cordage. This is the working end because that's the end that you work with to create a knot. Okay, the other thing I want to mention to you is the working end should go on the left-hand side or the right-hand side of the standing end, left or right, when you're making your speed, bead, hitches. Doesn't matter what side, but you want to be consistent because you're going to do it with both ends of the cordage as you're making the hitches with the bead. So we'll stay on the right-hand side of the standing end, and we'll run this end through so you can see how the working end is on the right hand side of the standing end, and we cinch that up a little bit. Now we've got our first hitch, and now here's your hitch. So if you look at the bottom, this is where we're going to run the other cord through. And then you can play around and experiment with different ways to give you, tighten up the cordage by pinching the cordage in your fingers. That tightens up the cordage and gives you a little bit more of an opening in your bead at the bottom. Okay, so now we're going to run the other end of the cordage through the bead. So this is the working end. And just get it started because it's getting a little tight. And it's very helpful to have a little tool that you can grab the hard part where you melted the cordage and you push it through. See that? Then what we're going to do, this is the working end, we're going to wrap it around and we're going to go through the bead again to create our second hitch. So we're going to stay on the right hand side of the standing end. So we take the end of the cordage and we just get it started in the opening. Then we go back to our handy little tool that we're using, and then what we do is, bear with me, this is probably the most difficult part, and then we grab There, I got it. I got that hard part, and we run it through. Make sure you don't jab your fingers, so stay away from that hole. And again, our little tool grabs the hard part, the melted end of the cordage. We're through, and now we have our speed bead hitch configuration. And the other thing we want to do is we want to get these ends even. So if we look at our configuration, the reason we were consistent in keeping the working end on the right hand side of the standing end is that we achieve asymmetry in the knot with the two hitches. So we always know that the working ends are on the right hand side of the standing ends, so that means that these two go together, they're on the same end of the cordage. So what we want to do is we want to lengthen this one. So if you pull from the top, you're going to pull extra cordage from the bottom. So watch this. You pull from the top, you're pulling cordage from the bottom. And then you can pull the cordage to get your ends straight. Now once you're even up, you grab the even ends of the cordage, and you go back down and you pull on your the other end, and then you're tightening the cordage up to finish off your speed bead configuration. Then you set it to where you want, and now you have a great little speed bead configuration and an application. Okay, now the other thing I want to show you is when you're threading your cordage through a lanyard hole and you're finishing your lanyard off with a speed bead hitch, you can't to actually reuse the lanyard, the speed bead hitch configuration, or to reuse the cordage if you want to. You have to undo the speed bead hitch, and as I showed you before, you can do that very quickly without having to go through a lot of trouble untying traditional knots. But there's another way to attach your speed bead hitch to your item that you're tethering to, and that's by using a girth hitch. So here's a setup where this is a girth hitch. Basically what you do, very easy to get it off of what you're tethered to. And then again, what you do is you feed the bite of the speed bead hitch configuration through your lanyard hole, and then you run the bead through that opening, and then you have a girth hitch. So this enables you to take the speed bead hitch configuration off of what you're tethered to very rapidly. So whenever possible, again it depends on what you're attaching your lanyard to, instead of threading the cordage through the lanyard hole, try and use a girth hitch through the lanyard hole. Okay. Now we'd like to talk a little bit about the products that we're using today to give them credit, and just for your interest, if you're so inclined to learn about products you may not know about. The first configuration or application of the speed bead hitch, we were using a bead from exotac.com. That's EXOTAC.com. And they have 3 beads in their series, and they're known as man beads. That's the name of their product line. This is, and they're all known by model numbers. This is model number 2, which is the smallest bead in the Exotac series. And the next bead up in size, and we can see how these have concentric rings that have been milled out of the bead, which gives you a grip. And this bead is very symmetrical, and it's very useful in any kind of bead application. Then on this particular setup, this is bead number 8, which is the second. It's a little bit longer than bead number 2. and it's tapered, and that makes it a good application for zipper pulls. And it also has 2 concentric rings milled out of the bead. And then the third bead in the Exotac lineup is bead number 7. And this bead is the longest of the 3 beads, and it has some longitudinal cutouts, again, for gripping the bead. Now, these beads are made out of 303 stainless steel, and they have an internal diameter of 0.19 inches, which is great for our application using the cordage. And also let you know that all the products that I'm talking about today I use personally, and I can recommend them. So feel comfortable that if you purchase the products that I'm using, that they have great form and function, and fit and finish is adequate, or more than adequate. In the case of Exotac.com, the company has great form and function for all their products, and the fit and finish is excellent. So I can recommend their products. When you buy beads from Exotac.com, you get a nice little microfiber pouch, and you can also get the beads at a discount if you buy them in bulk. Now, going back to our first application, the cordage that we're using is coming from countycomm.com. That's the word county, then COMM.com, all one word. Countycomm.com has a wide range of EDC gear, tools, and supplies like this 3/32 inch cordage, or what's also known as tether cord. Countycomm.com is another go-to company for me, and I can recommend them to you. Their prices are very good, and the products are form and function, and the fit and finish is typically outstanding. Okay, and we are tethered to a 4/7 flashlight. That's the word 4, the word 7s all together, one word. And this is the Preon, which is a great little EDC light, has a great form factor fitting in your hand. It has a clicky switch that you can buy as an option, or out of the box you got a twisty. It takes a AAA battery, pumps out about 100 lumens, so it's excellent for everyday usage, and it has a great clip that we've used in support of our speed bead hitch application. Okay, then the other company that we looked at was this bead is from CogentIndustries.com. That's the word Cogent, COGENT, Industries.com, all one word. Cogent has 4 beads in their lineup. The first one we'll look at is this one right here. It's known as the grenade bead, and it's because it's reminiscent of a pineapple grenade. The surface texture has transverse and longitudinal cutouts of the bead. This has 7 longitudinal cutouts milled out of the bead. These beads are made out of G5 titanium. Then we have the bead that we were using in this application, which is the revolver bead. It has 6 longitudinal cutouts milled out of the G5 titanium. Then we have the boxer bead, which has 4 cutouts, longitudinal cutouts. And then we end the series of Cogent Industry beads with the trident bead, which has 3 longitudinal cutouts. Great beads from Cogent Industries and from Exotac.com. And then on this particular application, this was another product from exotac.com, and this is called their Nano Striker. It is a fire starter. I'm not going to demonstrate it, but I can let you know if you're interested in having a fire starter, a small form factor, lightweight, to put into your kit. You can't go wrong with this. Innovative design, fit, and finish is excellent, form and function as well. So that's exotac.com's Nano Striker. Then moving on to what we have here, this is a great little pouch. I call it the pocket pouch. This is from countycom.com, and they call it the zippered key pouch. This is a great little pouch to put in your pocket, and the way I use this is this contains EDC kit items, and I have the girth hitch and a speed bead hitch, and what I do is I put this in my pocket and I let the speed bead hitch sit outside of my pocket. When I need something from my kit, I grab the speed bead and I pull it right out of my pocket. Then I have access to my kit. As an example of another thing I wanted to show you, if you want to use something from your kit, like in this case, a pry bar from cogentindustries.com. Again, G5 titanium, really nice pry bar. What we could do is we can quickly take off the speed bead hitch from our kit, and we can reuse it to set up one of our tools. So suppose we got to pry a number of things, and we want to keep the tool attached to our wrist. We can reuse the speed bead hitch off the kit. Now we got it on our wrist, and then we're using the pry bar, doing our work. We can go hands-free, and then we can get the tool back in our hand again rapidly. So that's a good application of the speed bead hitch attached to your kit with a girth hitch, so you can use it rapidly to help you with the tools that you're using. Also, this pocket pouch, or the zippered key pouch from countycom.com, is an alternative way to use put all of your kit items rather than on a carabiner. A lot of times you don't want to put a carabiner on your belt, and this is a great way to put multiple kit items in your pocket, and then accessible by your speed bead hitch. And this is a different style of 3/30 seconds cord from countycom.com. The last thing we want to talk about is the great little guy here. This is a titanium toothpick from sunshineproductsusa.com. That's all one word. Again, form, function, fit, and finish superb. You would say, why do I need a titanium toothpick? Well, this is a great toothpick, and then it's a pointer from our YouTube videos, and as you saw, we used it to help support the construction of our speed bead hitches. So if you need something that's small, thin, pointy, and very strong, having a Sunshine Products titanium toothpick is a great little tool. I love this thing. So that brings us to a close of part 2 of our Speed Bead Hitch series. And closing us out is another product from sunshineproductsusa.com. It's their toothpick holder made out of stainless steel. And this is where I put my toothpicks, or you can put other things in it. And it's also fit and finish, form and function, excellent. So everyone, thank you so much for your time. I hope you got something out of this, and be looking for part 3 of the Speed Bead Hitch series, and we'll be giving you more cool things to think about and maybe apply. Oh, also, when you buy beads from cogentindustries.com, they give you a nice little pouch as well. Okay, thanks again. Take care. Bye-bye.